turn the recording back on. Okay, yeah. So it is a 6-week program, but this is just a bonus. So this is like bonus week, and we're just going to do a few things here. As promised, I will show you what I look for, and we will actually trade together, and I will log into my account and show you how I trade. And then I might be able to answer a few questions. And the first question that came maybe 4 days ago was my perspective on Bitcoin. So I'll start with that, and then I have one other short thing to share with you, which is how to avoid stress and how to avoid losing yourself with trading, and how to stay focused on you, because this is just a part-time thing. Remember, we're not day traders. So I'll talk a bit about Bitcoin and just what I see and where I think things are going, and then let me just pin the video. Okay, great. So there's the Binance login. Okay, so I want to talk about this with Bitcoin first. So I saved this. I think this was like earlier this year I saved this. And I cannot quite recall right now what this type of chart is. But as you know, we look at charts, and we talk about charts. And I'm part of a few groups, and I pay to be in a few different groups that are filled with, intermediate traders and advanced traders and professional traders, and we all kind of learn together, and we all look at the charts and share ideas and things like that. And somebody was complaining just about lack of results and things like that. And when I joined the group, I was a little overwhelmed. So I put in my 2 cents, and I said, look, when I started, I was overwhelmed too, but I took a deep breath. I asked questions, I asked for help, and every group I'm in is very helpful, much like ours. We answer questions, and sometimes we answer each other's questions. So I just said, look, if you just stick with it, and remember that we're very lucky and privileged just to be playing this game at all, because all we're doing is looking at charts and clicking buttons, and we're making money, and that's what we're doing. And most of the people on the planet do, labor, like backbreaking kind of labor, right? Physical labor globally. So it's a very good thing. It's a very good time to be in this industry and to be an investor and a trader in this market. And some people just don't quite get it, but that you're in this and that we've made it this far and you've come this far to session 7 means you get it. You get it, you're getting it, you're part of it. You have my respect, you have my love and appreciation, because we grow and we stimulate this community together. So this chart, I cannot remember the type of analysis, but we've looked at a lot of different charts and a lot of different analyses, but this curve, this angle here, I can't remember what it's called. It might even be, I'm bad with the technical names even sometimes, but it might even be a logarithmic or an algorithmic or something like that kind of scale. And so if you notice these red lines, it has this symmetry to it. It's not logical and it's not linear. It's like a wave, right? It is a wave. And this image, I think, when did this image come out? Let's see. Wow, it's probably like March of this year, based on the timeline I'm seeing here, March, February, even of this year. So this person gathered this data, and these white lines are the halvings, okay? These big white lines are the halvings. You know about the halvings, when the reward gets cut in half for Bitcoin. So we're on the, we've just had the 3rd halving now. So this person has mapped out in this chart this pattern of how the price moves in this band, if you will, every time there's a halving. And the chart starts 2011. 2012. Just a year or two after Bitcoin started. So what we see here is this uptrend, okay? Now, the chart ends, this white last arrow here ends 2025, almost to the end of 2025. And they estimated that by May of 2021, which is just, 2.5 months ago, that the price would be, about 13,000. So they estimated in May, 13,000. Okay, now we're just hitting 12,000 now, right? It peaked and it hit 12,000 just, a couple days ago. So we're entering that space now. So this chart obviously was not perfect and it was off a little bit, but in the big picture, in the grand scheme of things, it's still pretty darn good. Okay. And most of the data comes from the past and the history. So, I'm in the investment world, and we always say past performance is not an indicator of future gains, but it is the best indicator to predict, potential future scenarios, right? So this past, look at this chart, this wave, it does have a pattern. And you know that I'm long-term bullish on Bitcoin as a whole, okay? So let me close this one, and I'll throw out some other ones here. Here's another one. And remember, I said there's a lot of different, charts and examinations. Where are we now here? May, July, August. So based on this, August 2020, this person thinks that by now, we should be 17,000 or 19,000. And we're not there. Okay, we're just not there. What we do have is, like I said, 12,000. What we do have is a bull run. What we do have is increases. We do have growth. We do have gains. Okay. I'll come back to that in a second. Okay, so right now we're doing some technical analysis, and remember, technical and psychological. So we're doing some technical, and we're not even doing any technical analysis ourselves. We're looking at other people's technical analysis. So this is where we are right now, these, red, green dots, right? These red, green. So this person says, and this is a new person that's new to TradingView. And I just snapped this because this person makes a 10-year prediction and says $180,000 in 2 years for the price of Bitcoin. Okay. So where are we? We're in 2020 right here. So this person says 2023. I'm just kind of drawing a line across this. This person says 180,000. So obviously there's a big gap here between the 80,000 and the 40,000. So this is just technical stuff that we don't know where it's going to go, and predominantly psychology and psychological factors drive the market. The technical is just an indicator and a way to keep up. Okay, so let me show you a picture. I just took this today. All right, I'm going to have to show you on my phone here because I wasn't able to upload it in time. This is a picture of a Bitcoin ATM. Okay, a Bitcoin ATM. This is in my convenience store right next to my house, guys. I could throw a rock if I could throw it far enough. There's a convenience store right over there, right in the plaza next to my house. This thing, okay? If you took my Bitcoin course online, when I first did seminars educating people about Bitcoin, it was in 2017, and I used to have to drive 5 minutes. I used to have to drive 5 minutes to get to the nearest Bitcoin ATM. And that's very close, by the way. Now, this one's never been there before. It is literally right there. It's literally right there. So psychological adoption is massive. It's huge. That the Bitcoin ATMs have grown and that they've spread and that there's one this close to my house psychologically means more and more adoption. Okay, this is actually, it's funny because it's subtle, but it's significant. And if you take real estate investing courses, they teach you how to analyze your market locally, analyze your market here in your neighborhood, analyze your own city, analyze your own neighborhood. And they talk about little factors and the little things like, employment, vacancies, how are the jobs in the market, how's the economy, how's the minimum wage, has that gone up, these kinds of things. So you have to do these kinds of analysis, both technical and psychological. Technical shows where it could go, and psychological explains what's happening now. And ultimately, psychology is what drives behavior. So I'm going to bring up this, and my name for this file is called Holy Shitballs, because when I found this and I realized this, it was one of those mind-blowing moments. So check this out. This I grabbed this months ago. You probably saw this in the Ninjas group. Let's not forget demographics. An independent financial advisor reported that of his millennial investors, roughly 90% would prefer Bitcoin over gold. 71% of millennials would invest in crypto if it was available at a traditional financial institution. Babe, can you close the big door too, please? Thanks. And 43% trust crypto exchanges over the stock market. So if you've been paying attention to the headlines, you know, gold has really spiked, right? Gold, I got this great image here. You might have seen this. Gold has reached a new peak. See if I can find it and show it to you here. You know those alerts you get on your phone? Look at this. This is an alert that someone got that they shared with me in the crypto group. Gold ends above $2,000 an ounce for the first time in history. So this is big, huge news. Okay. Now, so that was a few days ago. So headlines right now, what they're saying is seniors investing in gold, millennials investing in Bitcoin. This is big news headlines. You could just Google search this right now, and you'll see many articles from many financial institutions which say that very phrase, that very key phrase right there. They say elders or seniors investing in gold, millennials investing in Bitcoin. Well, listen, eventually the younger generation replaces the older generation. Sad but true. Eventually the older generation dies. And who's the next majority of the population is the previous up and coming generation. So, you know, boomers, they're dying, right? They're older now. My parents are 82 and 76, and I'm so blessed and so thankful that they've lived this long, and one day they won't be here. And who will be here is me, my brothers and sisters. And we're millennials, Gen X and Y and Z and all that stuff, okay? So they're gonna, this wave is gonna happen, which is gonna replace the previous generation. It just happens. Also, look at this, remember this, regardless of your opinion on the crypto space's viability in the next few years, baby boomers are set to begin the great transfer of wealth, during which a massive $68 trillion of wealth will move from the hands of the older generation to the younger, more crypto-friendly hands of Generation X, Y, and Z. So, what's my long-term perspective on Bitcoin? It is bullish. It is long-term. It is long-term growth, okay? Also, understanding technology and the way technology works has just totally just like, you know, blown this out of the water for me. So let's not talk about politics. Let's not even talk about the, we don't even need to mention the trillions of dollars that the banks are printing right now, which is going to cause inflation, and technology produces deflation. So you've heard me mention this, and I'm giving this to you again because I want you to have this. So our last session together, someone asked, what are my thoughts long-term on Bitcoin? I'm giving it to you straight, okay? We are moving into a digital economy. We are ever increasingly, every day by day, moving into more digital systems. You can see in the future, I think, you know, we're going to become a global world. We're going to be like a globally unified world, right? And I went to the bank last week, and what used to be Sally's office, Jim's office, Daniel's office, Michael's office, Mark's office, Sandra's office, instantly became communal offices. So every office was its own was its own unique office that anyone can go into. They were called meeting rooms. The effing president, or sorry, not the president, the branch manager didn't even have an office anymore. So it's totally virtual now. It's going to move to virtual. And it was like a co-working space. At the bank, it was like a co-working space. Nobody had a dedicated office anymore. It was like whoever was in that day or on shift that day, you know, they could meet people. So everything is moving to more communal, accessible, open space, sharing. We're in the sharing economy. That's a great book if you want to read that or write that down as a future book to read and grab, is The Sharing Economy, okay? Now here's another metric to consider, and then we'll end here. Stock to flow comparison chart, okay? After, this actually will take a little bit, but I don't know if we haven't, I know we haven't talked about it in this course. There's just so much happening. Every day there's new developments. I want you to look up, and I'll see if I can include it in the members area. I probably can't include it, but something called the stock to flow ratio. So just, you know, Google, there's a couple of videos. I'll put them in the membership group, but the stock to flow ratio. And in essence, let me boil this down quickly. The stock to flow ratio is how much new inventory is coming in versus how much is flowing out. Okay, so this is a very common metric used in gold and silver, because gold and silver gets mined in the earth and new inventory comes in, but then it gets used in jewelry and electronics and planes and technology, computers, and so on. So how much is coming into, how much is going out is a very key factor on price, okay? And that ratio, if that ratio goes down or up, the price gets largely affected. So in the videos, you'll understand that this is quite the precious metric, and silver and gold are represented here. Okay, so that means how much goes out versus how much comes in. The higher the number, the more dangerous, and the higher the price will be. So the higher up the number, the higher the price will be. So here, Bitcoin was readily available in 2010. It just came out. You know, they were mining like thousands of Bitcoins, and there wasn't that much demand. Here, there was more demand in 2014, and there was less stock, but still plenty of stock. Silver has a good amount of stock. Bitcoin currently has a healthy amount of stock, so it's not that bad, right? The bar is not that high. After the halving, the Bitcoin availability goes way down. So that this number, this stock to flow number goes up, and then there's gold, and then there's Bitcoin. So right now, you know, it's almost weird to say this, but it's been this way for a long time, but Bitcoin is more valuable than gold. Bitcoin is more valuable than gold, and it has been for some time, even though gold just went up, right? The price of Bitcoin is going up too. So they've charted here in the future in 2025, which is not that far away. It's only 5 years away, what the stock to flow ratio could be. And it doubles. Look at this. It's double what gold is. So that means it's going to be doubly scarce, doubly valuable, doubly higher in price. This is something to pay attention to. So there's literally 1,000 different indicators. Now that you're in this conversation, there's 1,000 different themes and indicators and data reference points that you can look to explain the price of Bitcoin and where Bitcoin's going. And those people that still think it's a scam or it's you know, I remember last year somebody asking me, is it too late to get in? Is it too late to invest? Have I missed the window? When you think long term and where it's going, and you remember that only 5% of the population has a Bitcoin wallet, you have to realize no. It is still very, 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 very early. It's still a very good time. Still such a very good time. The future is so bright. I mean, the recent news just made everything so much more delicious, so much more valuable, so much more exciting. Okay, for those of us in the community and those of us that care. I'm just gonna plug in my laptop. I ordered a new computer. I had to ship it back. It was missing parts. It was a refurbished computer. It's like a used one they fixed up, and I bought it super duper cheap. I got a heck of a deal. It was like $140 for a keyboard, mouse, laptop, desktop with a monitor. Is like an amazing price. I couldn't say no. But then it came back. It was working, but they missed a few pieces, so I had to send it back. Okay, before I show you my trading. By the way, does anyone have any questions specifically about Bitcoin and about what I mentioned about the like my outlook of Bitcoin and where it's going? Any questions about that?
Michael, no? I do. I was just starting to type it, but I'll just ask it.
Yep.
Do you have a suggestion on what we should be using Bitcoin for? Like, should we be having possibly more than one full Bitcoin to invest as well as use for purchases in the future?
That's a great question. It depends on your budget and your holdings and your assets, and how much money you have and that sort of thing, and what you're willing to invest. But there's a guy. He hasn't been joining us on the sessions, but he's in the group and he's in the program. His name's Paul, and he's closer to retirement. We've talked about a retirement plan for his, for his future, right? So I recommended some of that into Bitcoin, into digital currency. So it does depend on you and your risk tolerance and your preferences and how much money. I can't say a Bitcoin if that's right for you. If you only have $5,000 in example, like to your name, then no, obviously do not get a whole, whole Bitcoin. So it's different per person. But it's just, without a doubt, it's a growing asset. By the way, it is, like I said, more valuable than gold, and it is still the best performing asset over the last 10 years. It's the best performing asset over the last 10 years. It's outperformed everything. It's outperformed everything. Gold, silver, oil, copper, bronze, like I don't even know if they still have bronze as like an asset or whatever. But like tech stocks even, like tech stocks and even gold stocks, like it's outperformed all that stuff. So up to you how much. And then when it comes to spending versus investing, that is a great question. In a way, spending is good for the ecosystem. And in a way, spending Bitcoin is good for the growth of the overall community and the overall ecosystem. And John McAfee, who's one of the biggest, loudest voices when it comes to Bitcoin, and he's pretty out there. But if you know McAfee Security on your computer, that's his company. He is extremely outspoken, and he used to say, Bitcoin's going to go to $100,000 by the end of 2019. Well, that didn't happen, right? But he also actually recently came out, I think it was 6 months ago, and he said, spend your Bitcoin. Spend your Bitcoin. He said, it'll make the economy grow. It'll make the Bitcoin ecosystem better, okay? Now, I agree with that, and I love him for saying that. However, there are many new cryptocurrencies and coins coming out all the time, and a lot of them are more spendable than Bitcoin. See, the thing about Bitcoin, and I've mentioned this before, is you want to think about it like a Picasso. The day is going to come where they're not going to make any more. So knowing that now, it's like the people that were, buying Picassos for $20 while he was alive. Imagine if they had known that he was going to die and they were going to be internationally recognized pieces of art. They probably would have bought up as many as they could, and they wouldn't have sold them or whatever, right? But that's impossible to know. But with Bitcoin, we know one day they're not going to make any more. So something to consider. I currently disagree with spending them right now, although, I mean, just 2 years ago, I was giving them away. If you look on my Facebook feed 2 years ago, I was giving away some Bitcoin. Not whole Bitcoins, but I was giving away like $10 worth of Bitcoin and $20 worth of Bitcoin. If you could answer this quiz or answer this question or randomly, do this, because I wanted to stimulate the ecosystem. And I was making good money off of it, and I just wanted to share this with people and give this to people. So, I would say things like, tell me, this or that or whatever, and I'll give away $10 to the winner, and I was doing that. And I gave away, I think, a couple $100 worth of Bitcoin and Ethereum back then, because I was doing well in it and I wanted to share it and I wanted to get it out there. I wanted the people see. Remember 2 years ago, it was still the conversation of like, oh, it's for terrorists and drug dealers, right? It's not like that anymore. But that's where we were 2 years ago. So yeah, so I don't think you need to spend it. I think there's other ways, there's other things, and it's something to hold on to for sure. And you can spend other coins. Like, I'm just trying to think of, yeah, they're coming up with new use cases to spend not just Bitcoin, but different cryptos all the time. And they're very good. They're very good, So, yeah, good question. Okay, now I want to, oops, I clicked the wrong button there. Now I want to talk to you about how to avoid stress and prevent stress. And now that we're going to be, disconnecting and we're not going to be speaking and the course is coming to an end, I want you to keep this in mind, to think long-term, okay? I'll put this in a little better order for you. Okay. Remember that you have no control over the markets. I'm just clarifying my thought here. First, make long-term decisions. Think long-term. As an investor, remember that the best investors think long-term. Okay. So if you make a mistake, if you buy it, you feel a little too high, in 2 weeks, probably it won't matter. In 2 months, it won't matter. Really, honestly. Just think long-term. And that is the solution to a lot of problems. We need to keep things into context. We talked a lot about context in this course. Having context is very important, meaning having the proper frame or lens to look through that you're seeing is very important. because it will cure a lot of your ails, right? By thinking long term, you can just remember, okay, it doesn't matter if one day you might be like, oh crap, I bought it at 11,800 and it went to 11,600. I could have bought it there. I actually have those thoughts sometimes, and then I have to remember, wait a sec, in 2 weeks it probably won't matter. In 2 months it won't matter. Even in 2 days, who knows? You know what I mean? What's the price right now? Let's check right this second. I know it was 11,900 earlier, so it's really breaking through and cracking through that barrier, that ceiling. Okay, it's 11,700 right now. It's 11,700 right now. 11,700. Okay.
Michael,
Yeah.
if you, for example, if you're looking at purchasing Bitcoin right now for not for trading, just for investment and for long term, right?
Yep.
Do you still, I don't know, try to put the stop loss just in case if it will go down? Because I know, it might go down to 5,000. It did before, right?
Yes.
That's the time to actually buy it. But right now, it's going up a lot.
Yeah.
So we might expect some pullbacks, but we don't know. It might be, right now, it might go over the roof, right?
Yes.
So when do we know when to buy it for the long term? I know.
Yeah. So your first question was, do we set stop losses? My answer is yes, always set stop losses. And in a sideways or a choppy market, set tight stop losses. Okay, so my stop losses are pretty tight right now. And what I mean by that is, whereas normally I might have like, 5 to 7% stop losses. Okay, or even sometimes 10%. Okay, if I really take a little risk. But instead, because exactly right now it's been we're in a new range where it's been 11.5, 11.7, 11.5, 11.8, 11.5, 11.6, in this 11,500 to 11,000 800 range right now. I have tight stop losses. So I have very, very tighter stop losses now, because it could go down to 5,000. And there's a lot of reports and analysis, people saying it'll go down to 5,000. And then there's also, it could go to 12,000 and then peak up to 12,000, 13,000, right? And so right now I am setting even tighter stop losses, okay? So whereas normally I might have 5 to 7 or even 10%, right now I have like 3%, 3 to 5% stop losses. Okay, so always set stop losses. And yeah, in a sideways market that's choppy, that it's not just that it's choppy, it's that this is a pivotal point. It'll either go down to 5,000 and then everyone will buy at 5,000. So it'll go back up quick to like 8,000 at least, maybe even 10,000. But it's such a decisive time. It's either going to do that or it's going to do this. And we just don't know. So in this time of uncertainty right now, because of the way things are, I have tighter stop losses. I hope that answers the question. Did that answer the question?
It's difficult, right? Because everyone right now, they want to wait until it drops to 5,000 and then buy it. Because then, now we know, I just wish to have that money now.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You're right. And I can tell you're plugged into the community and you're plugged into the ecosystem because of the words and terms that you said. So good for you. And yeah, like we want to buy at 5,000. So for example, what I have right now is I have purchase stop limit orders, which I think I still need to make that guide for you guys. I have purchase stop limit orders set for Bitcoin at 10,400. I have and then I'll explain what this means in a second. 10,100, and then I have 6,000. Right? I think I might even have one at 7,000. Now these might never hit, okay? But what this means is I have liquid cash, right? I have liquid cash or stable coins sitting in my account. And so that means that the order to purchase will trigger if price goes to those levels. Okay, so I have enough, like, stable coin, USDT, that if the price hits this point, then an order will trigger, and hopefully it will trigger, and I'll make those purchases at that point. It may never happen, right? But I have this listening in the community that it might, so I'm going to take advantage, and if it does happen, I've got some liquid cash that it'll do that. So I might have, $1,000 in there, let's say, right? So I might have, 250 here, 250 here, and then 250 here. Right?
It's a good idea. For example, if you have 5,000 right now to trade, to basically have, let's say, $1,000 in stable coin, just in case if there's a good opportunity to buy, and then some to purchase Bitcoin, and then watch that carefully, and then some of that goes to altcoins, and again, like, we can watch that price and whatever, but then to keep some funds there just in case if there's a good opportunity to purchase a Bitcoin, right?
Yes, exactly. So so here we talked about portfolio composition. So that's why the extra is there.
Okay.
That's why the stable coins is here. So take advantage of good deals.
Okay.
Right?
Perfect.
Yeah. Good question. Tina asked a question, why would you set a stop loss? If you're looking long term, why would you set a stop loss if you feel it will go back up? Because I really like to catch it and make great deals, Like, one of the key things I learned this only recently, even though I was a real estate investor like 5 years ago. I learned this recently. You make money on the purchase. Where you make money in real estate is on the purchase. So you want to buy low. So I love to buy low, and I get really excited when I catch a good time to buy low. So I would set a stop loss to sell if it's going down, and then purchase again if it goes down further, right? And I don't know if you caught last week's module. I don't think you were there, but I mentioned that, and I talked about how if you leave it from here and here, and then you leave it, but if I buy it here and here and here and here, I'm taking more risk, but I'm having more fun, and I stand to gain more profit. I don't know if you caught that part. Okay. But that was in there. Good question. Sweet. Awesome. Okay, great. So just to recap here, guys, how to avoid stress and frustration. Yes, that's right. Holding the liquid stable coin in Binance so that Binance can buy the order. Because remember, Binance, you can automate it and set an order for the future, right? In a traditional wallet, you can't do that. So to avoid stress, make long-term decisions, think long-term, and don't look at the charts every 5 minutes. This is really key. Do not look at the charts. You are not a day trader. We are not day trading. So do not look at the charts every 5 minutes. Okay, even when things are blowing up and exploding, I still only check like 4 times a day max. Most of the time I check 2 times a day, morning and night. That's it. I follow the schedule, morning and night. When things are really popping off and they're really exciting, like right now, I will check maybe 2 more times during the day. Okay, maybe 2 more times during the day, like midday and then afternoon. And that's like a maybe. And I have to keep myself control, because you have to keep yourself in control, because you do not have control over the markets. Okay, so you need to remember, I've stressed this many times. Remember, you have no control over the markets. There is no crystal ball, okay? And always set your stop losses, always, if you're trading regularly. It sounds like maybe you're, like Tina or maybe someone else, you're not going to do that much trading. You're going to like buy and hold in long term, and that's totally cool. So this might not apply, right? If you just want to set it and forget it, that's great. If you are trading and you're trading regularly for income or for profit, then always, absolutely, always set stop losses. Okay? You'll have peace of mind. A stop loss means peace of mind. Okay? And I just wanted to mention that because, you know, health and wellness and well-being inside of what we're doing is important. And if you check the charts and if you check too much, you'll make bad decisions. You need to give yourself time away to rest and focus and do your own thing, your family, your kids, your spouse, whoever, your friends. You need to have a life outside of this. This can't be your own whole life. Okay? Well-being and health and mental wellness as well. It's very important. The first module we talked about health and well-being and mental fitness. Okay? So I just wanted to put that as a reminder. Very, very important.